taifa letu tukufu, Kenya tunayoipenda, Kenya nchi tunayoipenda.
Twajivunia sana tukijiita wa Kenya, nchi yenye baraka.
Broadcasting in this country began in the year 1928, and that was the first radio. It was a radio station actually. And the main purpose was for the settlers who were in this country, just to get news about their home and even about other parts of the world. Then TV began in 1961, and it began in Limuru, just a small low-power television station. The evolution of broadcasting also, initially actually it was in the hands of private people. Then the colonial government in 1954 made it a government body, Kenya Broadcasting Services. It turned back again to private in 1961. And then when it was nationalized, it changed to Voice of Kenya. So you can see it has been moving from private to government. But in 1989, it was still government, but parastatal, using the same name, Kenya Broadcasting Corporation.
Multimedia Services Department is responsible for three elements in regulation of broadcasting. The first one is multimedia technologies, which basically deals with multimedia standards and setting up standards for multimedia services, including digital broadcasting services and digital set-top boxes.
So in terms of services, the television used to be, and I don't know whether you people saw black and white television. That's what used to be. So that's when we got the color television. So that was quite a development. But the major development is the recent one, the digital migration.
Kama unataka kujua TV yako inaweza ikamigrate, kama kuna video in and out, tuko fantastic. Nunua digital box. Situko sambambizo.
Our role is to make sure that Kenyans are able to watch better TV, which has been enhanced by digital migration. The pictures are now clearer, there's no more snowballs, the sound is good. You're also able to receive more channels. We've grown from having 14 channels to about 60 channels in Kenya. We've also been able to create employment in Kenya and have grown have reduced the unemployment rate by 200,000 people.
So in terms of radio, there was a lot of medium wave technology in the year 89. Then 1990s, we ended up getting FM stations. And the technology in FM really, apart from technology, is also in terms of ownership, because the broadcasting opened up for private people in 1989. That was the first private television station, KTN, and also Capital FM. That was the first radio station. Then in the 90s now, there are more private stations came up. But what we witnessed also in 2000 is vernacular stations started coming. And that's what we have now. We have a lot of vernacular stations in FM. And the same thing also is happening in the TV arena. So there's a great transformation in terms of program content. The other area is the area of appropriateness of content. And our main objective really is to protect our children and people who are in public places, for example, matatus, even public places of entertainment. Even in your living room can be a public place. You need to be comfortable with your children, with even your extended family. So we have spelled out conditions in terms of watershed period. The other condition we have looked at is the issue of persons with disabilities, because our constitution requires inclusiveness. Apart from inclusiveness, there is also an act actually on just persons with disability. And as an authority, we've started with the issue of the news. If you are doing news or news of national importance, you must actually have a sign language interpretation. We work with evidence-based decisions, And in that regard, we've actually done a study that's going on now on local content, which will be able to advise us what are the challenges, why are we not able to get to 60% earlier. So those are the things we expect, and we expect to get contributions from the stakeholders that will inform us. In terms of also standards, I mean, what is appropriate, what is not appropriate, we are also doing a study, which will also we expect to get a contemporary standards for this community.
This is the voice of Kenya, Nairobi. Time now is 12 minutes past 6. You are hereby informed that everybody is requested to stay at home. There should be no movement in town. The government has now been taken over by the military until further notice.
The other unit is multimedia content and innovation, which deals with all aspects of content monitoring. And then we have our third section, which is the multimedia licensing unit, which deals with licensing of broadcasting services in Kenya. There are various categories of licenses that you can achieve, that you can apply for, and they'll be processed by our department. You will access this information from our website.
At first, I was also resistant to it, because for a few days I stayed without TV. I could not believe I could not sit without a TV. But today I'm glad my mother is even watching a better TV. I was in the department that brought change that I never thought I would see before I leave employment. MMS should be a department to be appreciated, because without MMS, it took the whole country to know what CA does through MMS.
In multimedia services, we facilitate and encourage the development of local content, and currently our target is 60% local content by the year 2017.
Ndege wangu wa fahari, ndege umekwisha mali, sasa watafakuri.
By promoting local content, the authority is ensuring that Kenyans have access to their own content, their language, their cultures, their values, and that these are being preserved for future generations.
Nairobi, are you ready? Show your love for the very talented, very skillful Eric Umoja.
Basically, we monitor the local content across both TV and radio. Currently, we are monitoring the local content in these stations. Local content quota is at 36%. We are hoping to ensure that the broadcasters achieve 40% by the end of this financial year.
I am in content monitoring. So basically, I help in monitoring content on broadcast channels, that is TV and radio. We check for certain standards and we check whether the broadcast stations have adhered to those standards, and along with the programming code.
In order to achieve our role as
In regulating broadcasting, we have a couple of regulatory tools at our disposal. We do review these regulatory tools in consultation with the public and stakeholders. We hold several public consultation forums and stakeholder forums where we receive inputs, and therefore we try to make the regulatory tools as up to date as possible by reviewing them often.
One of the mandates of the authority is that we've been given the responsibility of coming up with a complaints handling procedure where consumers of broadcasting services and broadcast content will be able to escalate their complaints. So if consumers out there are not happy with what they've seen on telly or what they've heard on radio, then they have the opportunity to escalate their complaints to the authority. This way we ensure that broadcasters are responsible for the kind of content that they air on their stations. And therefore we ensure that they adhere to the standards, the broadcast standards that are provided for in the programming code. And therefore we are able to make sure that the Kenyan culture and our national values are upheld.
Twajivunia sana tukijiita wa Kenya, nchi yenye baraka. Kenya nchi yenye baraka.
Currently, the television coverage in our country is only 32% of the households. This is really still very low compared to mobile, which is approaching 100%. The FM also, radio, is over 90%. So our main target also is really to be able to cover the remaining percentage. In MMS, really, we work a lot with other departments because you cannot do. For example, when it comes to awareness, we must collaborate with our public affairs. When it comes to frequency resources, we must work with frequency spectrum. We face a lot of litigation, so we work closely with legal services. There is also competition. For example, there's a study now being done by CTMA, which will help us to be able to make the affordability, the platform affordable to broadcasters.
So I say hi first. Wow, hi.
I look at the camera. Not necessarily.
Therefore, we safeguard consumers from inappropriate content. Cut.
I hope you've been. Yeah. That's a good. 1 minute, Misha.
I start. Hello, my name is.
Okay, maybe it's my question.
Okay, sorry.
We make sure that broadcasters are responsible for what they air by holding them accountable to too much talk.
These tools are usually reviewed often according to the market need. My face is funny. Naongea na mdomo. Okay. Yeah. That's it.
Local content is an important way of
We need to appreciate each other's culture and even to embrace it. And for the young people who are being employed today in CA, I know most of them now think they have arrived, because this is the best organization anybody would want to work in. And when they arrive here, they think now money will start pouring like Nema coming from heaven. There is nothing going to come from heaven. You need to work hard for this. You need to make your hands dirty. You need to go back to school and make yourself to earn what you want to earn genuinely. So that is my parting shot to the young people.
Kenya taifa letu tukufu, Kenya tunayoipenda, Kenya nchi tunayoipenda, Kenya nchi tunayoipenda.
Keluru do ketala, oh.